Hey guys, here's my review of my STI Duty One 5-inch. Comes in a nice plastic case. And the pistol does come in a plastic, which I have removed already and discarded. Also in the case is the owner's manual, the takedown tool, which is plastic. It does work well. I don't really need it on this this gun. It's not that tight, but I guess it's nice to have and to use if you need it. The required lock, which just a generic lock. This is I don't know if it's just a California thing or not. This is something I liked. Kind of a neat touch, I think. It shows that the gun was actually packaged by a human. Someone actually cared enough to write their name on it. Something you don't get from a lot of the other gun makers, manufacturers, especially on production guns. I actually do not know what these are. I've looked through the manual. It looks like something that would go on the guide rod, maybe to capture it. I'm not really certain. Haven't had a need to do that yet, if that's what they are indeed for. And then 2 spent casings and 2 Allens, chamber flag, and desiccant. So that's what comes inside the package. The gun itself, this one is 9x19, so chambered 9mm. I do that for several reasons. 9mm is my preferred round, and I already have a 45 1911. I wanted to go to something different. I also did want a railed gun. Interestingly enough, this is not the gun that I originally ordered from Shooter's Connection, which is a direct dealer for STI. I actually ordered the light model of this gun in a 4-inch. However, there were supply issues for STI. They could not get the aluminum frame, and due to the changing laws in California where I will no longer be able to single shot exempt firearms starting next year, I decided to change my choice to just be the regular Duty One steel frame. And still 9mm, but I did not go 4-inch, and the reason for that is this is not going to be a dedicated carry gun like the light model was going to be for me. So I decided that I'd rather go 5-inch if it's not going to be a dedicated carry gun, just because I'd rather have that extra inch for the sight radius. So that was my choice there. This one has night sights. They're Heine night sights from the factory, from STI. You can see this one has a nice lip on it, so you can do one-handed drills, malfunction, reload, whatever you need. If you need to run the slide one-handed, you can grab shoe, a belt, just clothing, a wall, whatever you need. And these are 2-dot sights, which was an important requirement when I was purchasing the firearm with night sights. If these would have been 3-dot night sights, I would not have purchased it with night sights. I would have just went with the regular metal sights and then upgraded later on. But they do come with 2-dot night sights, which is what I run on all my guns, so I opted to get the sights from the factory, from STI, with the night sights. And I'm glad I did. I really like the sights. They're Heine's, they're great. It's the same rear sight that I have on my Colt 1911, so it's very similar setup. It's something that I'm already used to. I do have Warren Tactical 2-dots on my Glocks. I do like Warren Tactical. I think Heine and Warren Tactical for night sights are comparable. They're, same thing, more or less. So this is a great setup. I like it. It comes with 1 magazine, which that's the only downside. It does come with 1 mag, and I have had some feeding issues with this mag already. Kind of a 1911 problem in general, where factory magazines don't usually want to run, with a few exceptions like Colt. Colt mags are usually pretty decent. The STI mags, I've read, I've heard from my friends that they're just not that great for 9mm anyways. So it seems that the general consensus for 9mm magazines are trip research. I'll be getting some of those soon, hopefully really soon here, because I do want to get some more mags so I can run the gun a lot more. I've only fired maybe 50 to 100 rounds through the gun. Well, probably more than 50, probably 75 to 100. And there is some wear already. There's some wear up here, just past the dust cover of the rail on the slide itself. It's a little bit, not a big deal. There is some wear back here where the thumb safety meets the frame. Just a little bit right around here. And the gun is lubed, it's wet. I've made sure that I've kept it wet. There's a little bit of wear here where the grip safety meets the frame again. And somehow I put a little more on this, but not a big deal. And you know, this is a shooter's gun. You don't buy this gun to keep it as a safe queen. It's not pretty enough. It doesn't have the uniqueness that a custom gun would, that you would use for like a safe queen or something just to go out and dazzle your friends with. This is definitely a shooter's gun. It's a gun that you don't mind banging up, you don't mind getting dirty, you don't mind actually shooting and putting through its paces, and that's exactly why I bought it. The rail is a needed feature in my opinion, because I run lights on any of my defensive guns, whether it's going to be a gun I'm going to carry, or if it's going to be a gun set up for home defense, or what have you. There will be a light. I currently only have one weapon-mounted light for pistols, and it's an X300 Ultra. I'm thinking about trying a TLR 2 or 4, see how one of those go. I want something a little thinner, something that's more 1911 thickness for this kind of gun. And I feel that the Surefire X300 series is just a little bit too thick, so I want to get away from that for this particular gun. Shooting it was very pleasant, as you might expect on a heavier metal gun, especially in a 1911 platform where you have the great trigger, the great ergonomics, and in a 9mm. It's very pleasant to shoot. Coming back on target is really easy. There's not a lot of muzzle rise. Muzzle flip is non-existent for the most part. It's just enjoyable, and it gets the job done. It's pretty much a pretty good buy in my opinion. So this does run about 1500, maybe a little over 1550 when you're all said and done trying to get the gun shipped to your FFL, or if your FFL already has one, you probably pay about $1550 for it. That seems to be about the going rate in every state. The only thing I did notice is there's a little bit of gap here by the flare on the ejection port, where the barrel just doesn't quite seem to come into contact with the breech face, as you might expect on a lot of other guns. I'm not sure if maybe it's just because of the way that the gun was designed that way, or if it's actually an oversight on the manufacturing process. But I didn't have any issues when I fired the firearm. The brass did not look bulged or anything, and in fact the brass sits down deep inside the barrel there, so that would not cause any issues. It's just more of a fit and finish type thing, something you might not see on a custom gun. However, you know, this is not a custom gun, this is a defensive gun. It's made to be run. The guide rod's interesting. I haven't seen a dual spring guide rod in a 1911 before. This is indeed a dual spring. I really don't want to take down the gun on video. Maybe on a future video, not on this one. trigger is just a standard plastic STI trigger. Same trigger that I've put into my Colt. I do like the trigger a lot. I do like the plastic STI. It's very light. It has a good feel to it. The only thing that I might do differently on my 1911s as I shoot them more is I might want to go to a flat trigger. Something I'm looking into. I haven't decided yet, because if I'm going to change one, I'm going to change all of them. I like consistency between my firearms. Trigger brake's pretty clean on this. There is some take-up. This is not a Series 80 gun, so there is no safety that is being manipulated when you pull the trigger, but there is some take-up. But the brake is pretty clean. I don't have a way to measure the pull. However, I would say it's probably right about 4.5, 5 pounds. So maybe not as clean as a 1911 with the custom trigger job. There's a little bit of creep there. Over travel's not there. And let's see how we go with some reset here. Gun's pretty new, everything's still pretty tight. I really like the hammer. I really like the look, the design. I like the way that they've cut in the grooves here for the slide, the serrations. Same with the front. I think it flows very well. The grips are G10. They look kind of like a cheap plastic, but they're not. They're not cheap plastic. They're actually layered G10. You can see that here. Well, I can see it. But it's a great gun. Been very happy with it. It's going to be a lot of fun to shoot. I need to get some more mags for it. So make sure you guys subscribe, and I should get some good video of me shooting it pretty soon. Maybe I can run around, get it dirty. Hopefully it runs well. So far it's run pretty good. I've had one failure to feed, but I think that's going to be attributed to the mag. Get some new mags and it should be fine. Any comments, questions, or concerns, or whatever, put them in the comment section. And again, make sure you subscribe. More videos to come. And thanks a lot.